Okay. I assume this is working. Hello to two of you folks. Vaca Grassa. Hi. The Epic Carrick 7. Hello. Classic 345. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the fourth Lucid Dreaming Q&A. If you guys are wondering what I'm doing with my camera, YouTube doesn't let me stream with the camera actually turned off, so I just have it like pointing up at the ceiling because I don't really want like all of my space to be viewed in its utter not glory. Ended up doing that last stream. Actually, it worked out all right. I can't actually turn the camera off though. And YouTube will not let me run it if the camera's off. Well, everyone, welcome to the fourth Lucid Dreaming Q&A. For several of you, or for anyone who's been here before, you know how these work. My subscribers, viewers, people from the two Discords, or just anyone who happens to wander in here from anywhere whatsoever can ask questions about lucid dreaming and I will answer them. This is a chance for me to interact with not only my viewers, but with people from both the Dream Cafe and Omni Lucid Discord servers. This is equal opportunity access. Anyone on either server who is either set up for event notifications or sees the YouTube messages in the content drop on OmniLucid. Anyone who has that enabled or who knows about this can come in, and I post the links everywhere. So this is for me to be able to engage with you guys and for you guys to be able to engage with me and to do a Q&A. David Workman, your name is unfamiliar to me. I love that. Welcome. You and Vaca Grassa. People who I haven't met before, I love getting in here because those are people who probably have more questions and who would like to learn more. So I really love welcoming new people here. So welcome David Workman to the Lucid Dreaming Q&A. This is the fourth one. I've been doing one just about every week. I find that we're getting newer people on frequently now, so it is helpful to provide these when there is a want. I always make sure there's a want for them, which is why they're so last minute. I usually ask people if they would like one and then do one. That's usually how these start. Vaca Grassa, first question. What can I do to escape my lucid nightmares? This is one that is kind of a common question out there. Well, you can do a lot of things. Understand that your dreams themselves, they operate based on schema or any associations that you have literally between anything. For example, you understanding the words I'm using in English, your understanding of those words is a schema. You associate the sound that I'm making to the meaning of the sound that I'm making. Well, your dreams work the exact same way. Things that you associate with happening, for example, like your strongest associations are what happens in your dreams. In waking life, they sort of inform your perspective. You understand what I'm saying because you associate the words I'm saying to their meanings. Or you look at a red traffic light and you know that you shouldn't walk out into the street because if a car hits you that you'll get hurt. These are learned behaviors, these are associations. They inform your perspective when awake, but when you're dreaming, they are your reality. They not only inform it, but they form it, they make it up. Your emotions also play a role because they can alter or enforce schema. So, for example, if you're in a lucid nightmare, you're afraid of something or you're anxious about something. And fear causes the nightmares. Fear and stress, not the nightmares don't cause fear. Fear causes the nightmare. Your emotions play a role in what happens. So if you can control your emotions, you can control how you expect the outcome to happen. So when you're lucid in a nightmare, when you know that it's a dream, you have more power over the situation. You know that this isn't real. It's not actually happening to you, that you're actually safe. Okay, so start by understanding that you're actually safe. All right. And that nothing there can actually hurt you. Only things that you associate with happening can happen. And you can control that. So I wouldn't say for necessarily escape your lucid nightmare. I would say change it. Change it into something that is more positive. Alter your emotional state if you can. Try to calm yourself. Try to center yourself. Ignore whatever is causing you a problem or make it turn into something else or confront it or just do anything that would be like antithetical to what you would normally do in a nightmare, like running away or hiding. Do something other than that. Because when you're like running from something, you're sort of reinforcing that fear of whatever's chasing you or attacking you if you're running away from it. But if you confront it, that's generally a braver thing to do. It's not as much born out of fear. So you can have differing results that way. Namcro from Dream Cafe. Okay, I don't know if I've talked to you in here, but I definitely talked to you on there. Welcome. You still have your certificate claiming that you've mastered lucid dreaming. I'm curious if that's like a joke or something, or if where you got that from, or if it's from like some weird chats way back in the dark depths of the eons of the past, i.e., 2021. But um, that is actually funny. Red Penguin, we have spoken on Dream Cafe. Nice to meet you. Hi there, I'm Red Penguin. I've had two lucid dreams, and I was wondering if it's possible to practice new skills in a lucid dream. It depends on how you define a new skill. Is it something you already are familiar with to an extent of like learning how it feels? Yes, you can actually practice skills. If it's something that you already got the basic idea of what it is, you can sort of practice it. The more you understand it while awake, though, the better you'll be able to understand it in a dream, though, because your dreams are based on your memories and experiences. So, say for example, you wanted to learn how to skydive, but you had never seen it done before. You've never seen an actual parachute. You don't know where ripcord would be or where anything on actual parachute would be. You could practice it in your dreams. You would develop your own expectation. You could get really good at it in your dream. But then if you try to translate that into waking life, you've never seen a parachute before. You aren't familiar with the experience. You tried to skydive, you might have a problem. But if you've seen someone playing a piano, that's a little bit less ambiguous. If you see someone playing an instrument or singing, things that are a little bit easier to comprehend in that way, but you just might have trouble doing it. And you're in a dream, you could put yourself in that situation, you could practice it. The more familiar you are with what you're trying to do, the easier it'll go. So if you're trying to learn how to swim and you already know a swimming stroke and you want a safe place to practice, then you could do that, or things like that. You can't physically increase your own stamina in a dream. Like you can't get physically stronger. You can't like work out in your dream and get stronger, but you can develop learned behaviors. You can learn things better. But you're doing when you're practicing something is you're reinforcing neural pathways that you're using. You're practicing like either hand movements or specific movements or way of doing things or specific associations, specific schema that are related to the particular skill. So you can practice that. And you're using those neural pathways when you do that, and that's creating um, the enhanced neuroplasticity. You're able to learn a little bit better. You're reinforcing those connections and those schema, those associations, and that does help. Young leg XND Legson L. Okay. And random characters. I have no idea what those are. But anyway, hello. I'm just gonna call you Young Legs. Anyway, how do I get more dream vividity? Those that's a factor of a few different things. That's a factor of first recall. How well are you remembering your dream? You might just remember something really vague or not really sure of what it is. If you're struggling with recall, vividness is something that tends to be part of that. How well are you remembering your dreams? How much detail are you imagining them in or trying to recall them in? What are you doing for recall practices? Are you just journaling or are you also setting intentions? Are you delving when you wake up? Are you actively pursuing those memories, like your sensory experiences, your dream memories? Are you actively pursuing that when you wake up? What are you doing for recall? Second, are you lucid in any of these dreams? If you are lucid and you are in that environment and you're noticing that it's kind of vague, what are you doing to try to change that? Because you can. It is done by schema, as I was talking about earlier. You could create like a graphics menu from video game, and you could change the settings, or you could just imagine things coming into sharper focus, or putting on glasses, or taking off a hood, or so, like just anything. I remember one time I gained more tactile sensation in a dream. I want to say it was my hundred and something, or maybe my 93rd. It was somewhere around the hundreds, and what I did, because I was losing sensation in my hands, the sensation wasn't proper. What I did is I took gloves off, and then I had better tactile sensation. I mean, it can literally be anything in a dream you can do to increase vividness like that in a dream. And when they're non-lucids and you're waking up, it's about your recall. It's how well you're remembering it. What are you doing for recall? Young Lucid from Omni Server. Hello there. You made it yourself one day. Classic. Hilarious. That's hilarious. The almighty Cheeto. Is that okay? Hey, what are my experiences with False Awakenings been like? Monday, False Awakening. Tuesday, False Awakening. Wednesday, False Awakening. Let's see. Today, I had 1, 2, 3. I had at least 3 False Awakenings today. I don't know if I had 4, but I had at least 3 False Awakenings today. Okay? They're not scary. They're only scary if you associate them with anything scary. But the reason I also say they're not really scary is if you're in your own house and like if you live in if you have like a stable environment, like you're not afraid of being in your own bedroom, you tend to associate the place you live with security, generally. Not always, but generally. For example, I always feel safe in this room. So whenever I have a false awakening in my bedroom, I'm never scared of anything. It's annoying. I've had some bad schema where I haven't been able to, break out of my house or exit my house or end up in other false awakenings when I try. But, I've never felt unsafe here. But I get false awakenings at least 50, I'd say at least 10 to 15 false awakenings a week. I would say that's about normal. If I were lucid in all those, that would be awesome, but I'm not always lucid in them. I had a false awakening where I was lucid yesterday with my cat who we had to put down in early November last year, and that was a really enjoyable and cathartic experience for me. That was yesterday. Today, I had false awakenings involving waking up earlier than I did today, some deals about cruise ships, this one thing where there's supposedly a swimming pool connected to my brother's bedroom at night, and me and some friends were gonna go swimming. And then there was one involving walking around. There's like stuff to do with Romulans from Star Trek, and my dad's and and my dad's and weird stuff. That was a false awakening. That was a funny one. Recalling that later. But yeah, I had 3 false awakenings today. I had 3 of them. The more I've gotten into lucid dreaming, the more false awakenings I had. I didn't really remember a lot before then, but I've gotten a ton. They're not really a thing to be afraid of. They can be annoying in excess, but in moderation, they're actually quite interesting. And you can get lucid from them, in certain circumstances, like in plenty of circumstances. As in, yeah, right, you're only doing a dream journal, then you definitely want to young lucid. You definitely want to to work on setting intentions and delving. I mean, honestly, and be as vivid as you can with recording your dream journal. You want to try to put as much detail as you can. Is the more that you think about details and specific things, the more likely you're going to be to try to remember those specific things. Message retracted. A dahi e Adahi. I'm gonna go with Adahi for pronouncing your name. I tried 2 methods, mild and mild, for a couple nights. One of these methods. All right. So this question seems to indicate that you probably actually have not actually done mild, because the fact that you included wild in that same sentence, that is not a method that really anyone at all recommends. And that usually comes from YouTube misinformation, which most of the content that's found here is that. And when you're including that alongside mild at the exact same time, that means you've probably learned mild incorrectly. Mild is not about repeating things to yourself. Whoever tells you that doesn't know what they're talking about whatsoever, which is about a lot of people. But anyway, mild is not about repeating things to yourself. Wild is really not very effective, and neither of them. Well, no one recommends mild, so it's immaterial, but mild doesn't affect your sleep. I'm mild every single day. I am on, let's see, 400, let's see, 470. Yeah, I'm on day 472 now. I practice every single night except for like 3 nights in the past year where I stayed up all night. Aside from those, I've practiced every single day for the past 472 days. Anytime that I've gone to sleep, I have done some sort of practice. So I've been practicing consistently for over a year now. Oh my gosh, it's been, so it's 365 plus 150 would be 400 and no 465 5 515. That'd be 515 days, and I'll be there in a month. I'll be to 515 in like 43 days, just over a month and a half. So I'm really close to hitting that year and a half mark of practice. It's crazy, honestly. It's really crazy that I've gone that far. I'll be approaching the year two mark at the end of this year, and um, good thing I started in 2020 because I don't have any leap year math to mess up my accounts. So everything's going well for now. But yeah, I don't recommend wild. And as far as mild, mild is about associating an intention or a decision to recognize that you're dreaming with your dreams. And you do this by you think about that intention, and while you're thinking about it, you imagine that a dream that you have had before, a dream that you've been in, a dream that you have had that you remember well. The dream that you remember well is the best to work with. You think about that dream. You're thinking about your intention while you're imagining this dream, and you look for dream signs. That's anything out of place or anything that doesn't make sense. And then you imagine that you've recognized that you're dreaming, that you realize that it's a dream. You're basically fulfilling your intention. So you've picked a point in the dream. Hey, I've recognized that this is a dream. Something here doesn't make sense. And now you're imagining that you are lucid, that you now know that this is a dream. And you imagine, okay, so what would I do at this point? And then you just pick anything you want to do, anything, if you have a specific goal, I usually recommend imagining people do that, or just anything that suits your fancy that you want to do. Honestly, it's up to you. Nix, what if I don't remember what I want to do in a lucid dream? Like in waking life, I would tell myself in a lucid dream, if I'm in a bad place, I'll just teleport. But I don't remember to do it once I enter a lucid dream. That sometimes happens. In fact, one of the things I do every night is set intentions to remember my active goals or things that I want to work on and do. And for the most part, that does help a bit. But there are plenty of lucids I have where I usually don't remember all the like specific things I want to practice or do. And that usually is to just me being opportunistic. I'm usually just doing something in the moment. Today was actually a mixture of the two. I did practice flying in a way that I'd never tried before. I'd never actually flapped my arms. I usually just jumped up in the air, but I actually flapped my arms as I was running across the field, and then I hovered across this field and to this where this person was. And I had never done that before, and I did that today. And flying is one of the things I want to master. That's part of my dream goals. But I don't always remember that. Sometimes I'm very opportunistic. Yesterday, for example, when I was lucid and my cat was in front of me, my cat who is now dead, yeah, that was a very cathartic experience, and I was gonna take that time to spend some time with my cat in my dream, who I can't spend time with anymore. And I'm not a dog person. Our house is full of dogs now. Okay. But yeah, sometimes Unix that happens sometimes. But working on that, setting attention to remember goals, things that you want to do, mildly kind of helps with that. It's a practice thing. Aris. My screen reader is pronouncing this Aris, A-E. It could be Aris. I'm not sure exactly how you want that pronounced. I tried to lucid dream with all my might, but it didn't work. What were you trying? What methods were you actually trying? Have you read any of the guides on either the Omni Lucid or Dream Cafe Discord server? Also, Dahi, I recommend if you're on Dream Cafe to go into the Lucid FAQ channel and check out the guides there. Also on Omni Lucid, you can go to resources. They have a couple of like different things there, but I do recommend if you're on Dream Cafe to read our Lucid FAQ. The FAQ itself, there's some text in the channel. Then there's links to a bunch of different guides. Those are things that we recommend to people in terms of you know things that we consider to be helpful. How do I visualize? Actually, the irony classic. How do I visualize objects in lucid dreams or dreams? Since I'm blind, it makes you wonder. Well, to be honest, and this is actually pretty funny and ironic. I'm blind and I actually visualize really well, which is hilarious. I had some sight when I was younger, and I imagine like really vague visuals, like literally just outlines of things with zero color. And then I can imagine how things feel. Like, for example, one of my go tos for visualizing is imagining the Forest Glen Metro Station in Forest Glen, Maryland, Silver Spring area on the Red Line Glenmont branch. It's actually two stations from the underline in Glenmont. And for the chance that maybe one of you lives in the DC area, you probably know what I'm talking about. But considering that this is an international community, I wouldn't bet on it. Anyway, I can imagine what it feels, the tiles underfoot, the detectable warning, what my cane feels like rolling across the ground. When I come to that place where I turn left to go to where the elevator bank is that goes upstairs, and the wind effect if a train pulls through the station in that area, making a natural wind tunnel. I can imagine the different sensations, the sounds, all of that I can imagine. And that's all part of visualizing. And in my dreams, I do it well. I just do. I don't get much in the way of visuals, but um, objects have a sense of touch. They have audible interactions with the environment when noises are made. But yeah, visualizing is all of these things. Yeah, Eris, that biting your tongue, like, so like that's not actually a method, Eris. That's not a lucid dreaming method at all. So I don't know where you've learned from, but it sounds like you've been misled, which I apologize. That's not what we intend here. But there's a lot of content on YouTube, but the vast majority of it is not stuff we recommend. In fact, all the channels that I recommend, most of them are my personal friends, so I don't usually say them all because I don't want to act like a nepotist. But outside of a list of personal friends, I do recommend lucid dreaming for Egypt. He's a little bit bigger than I am at the moment. Irish guy, very thick accent, but he's pretty smart and he knows a lot of what he's talking about. And he's one of the few. There's like one or two other accurate channels, but like one main one comes to mind. He's also a jackass, so I don't recommend him at all because he's a jackass. But that's somebody else who will not be named here. But those of you who know me probably know exactly who I'm talking about. And nothing else need be said there. But yeah, Eris, I recommend if you are on the Dream Cafe or on the Lucid, check out our resources on Dream Cafe. Check out the Lucid FAQ channel. It's in the intro section. The FAQ there is helpful. Read that first. That helps you with a lot of misconceptions. And you can read our guides. We have like 5 or 6 thousand mild guides. We have a main wild guide that we recommend, SSLD guide. We have some other tips and some other things. Think of wild guide was added. There's some other methods I don't really involve myself with, but we have a lot of different guides there. I would strongly recommend you go read what we have on offer. And if you have any questions, we are a community. You know, we have the resources that we recommend. We recommend that people read and learn to try to understand things. But if you have questions, if you're having trouble understanding something, ask us. We will help you clarify and understand things. On my Cheeto, how long do false awakenings last? It can honestly vary. It can be anywhere from 30 seconds to 10 minutes. I've had a chain of false awakenings that was a lucid a long time ago. I've had a couple of lucid chains of false awakenings that were like 20 minutes long together. I think it was like 2 lucid dreams that were all false awakenings. And in total, it was like 20 minutes worth of false awakenings. It was several different ones, but it was crazy. But yeah, they can last a while sometimes. Young Lucid, I think I mentioned delving already. Someone verify you can actually hear me. But yeah, I recommend setting intentions and delving. I actually did discuss that just a little bit ago. If you'd like to check out how I recommend recall, you can actually see a video that I put up on fundamentals of dream recall. In fact, I should start recommending that more. But yeah, I'd recommend setting intentions and delving. I did describe both of them above. Somebody make sure that y'all can hear me. Hello, axolotl. No subliminals. No. Unix. If you're losing focus, I would recommend doing mouth while sitting up. That has been something that helps me. Yeah, I've had the same thing happen today. Actually, losing focus and my thoughts going elsewhere because my thoughts are crazy. But yeah, I would recommend actually sitting up and doing it. That can help. Can you model with a past lucid dream? Yes, you can. In fact, what I'll do with some of those is I'll rescript it and think, okay, what could I have done differently? When I was lucid, is there something I forgot to do or wanted to do that I wasn't able to? What could I have done differently? And I'll mild that way. SXF Trex. Thank you. Yes, I thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. You got any questions? We will answer them. Yes, thank you. Professor, hello. And guys, I just want to let you know about the chat. We have the slow mode on for a reason. And also, if I haven't read your message yet, do not fear. I am likely behind and I'm answering messages in the order that I get them. So if you would like to know what I'm talking about, just look up to the message that corresponds to who I'm responding to, and you'll know how far behind I am. Okay. I just want to let you guys know that if you are getting antsy that I haven't gotten to your message yet, I'm going in order. And to be fair to everyone, I am going in a first come, first serve order. So if we don't get to somebody, I do apologize, but I just want to let everyone know as a sort of public service announcement so that people aren't worrying. What anchor would I recommend for Wild Professor? Honestly, that is such a subjective question that really depends on the person. There are environmental and mental anchors. I've tended to do honestly a mixture. I've done a lot of mental anchors. I've done a couple incubation anchors. Today, I ended up incubating this, like this dream was sort of forming, and I sort of anchored with it. And I ended up in my dad's car, climbing out through the sunroof, half in, half out, and then I forced myself in as I landed on this field and started running across this field. And that was kind of interesting. But but yeah, anchors honestly really depends on the person. You can use sound, any sound or any audio or tactile sensation in your vicinity. You can use as an anchor. You could also, if you have, like if you ever had like a song stuck in your head, that's sort of how I imagine an anchor being. Something that's consistent, that it remains with you. It doesn't change. Persistent, consistent, unchanging. Persistent, it remains with you. It takes minimal effort to either create or observe, so you're not focusing on it, and it is constantly reminding you of its presence. So it's it's there. You're not losing track of it. That's sort of what a good anchor should be. Yeah, Onyx. Actually, sometimes I've heard that some people like the more realistic a dream is, like the easier it is sometimes to get lucid. It just depends on how your brain's working. But yeah, the things you recognize and don't recognize is really weird sometimes. I don't recognize my local radio station doing an advertisement for a major cruise ship that I want to go on. And I don't recognize that there's supposedly a swimming pool attached to my brother's bedroom in my own house. But I do recognize climbing out of my dad's car and running across the field. Now, yeah, so there's some interesting stuff. I also don't recognize Romulans in my house or me recreating a Star Trek Deep Space Nine TV show. So there is there is that. Hey Chips, long time no here. I don't want to start my own server, Classic. I see the reason I wouldn't want to be co-owner on Dream Cafe is I like teaching. I enjoy the teaching aspect. Sort of being like the ideal, helping people, teaching people. I never go into general. I hate dealing with paperwork and absolutely do not want to be distracted from my fundamental mission, which is teaching people. And I feel like having all of the responsibility of running a server would just be antithetical to my overall goal, which is to teach as many people as possible. I feel like with the platforms that I'm on it right now, I have that opportunity and I get able to exercise that opportunity well. But dealing with all the administrative work that goes into running a server detracts from the actual teaching of people. And that's why I'm perfectly happy to let other people handle all the administrative stuff in terms of paperwork. And I deal with things that come up in my area. So, when things come up in lucid dreaming, I police that channel because I am there and that is distracting from being able to teach. But I'm there to teach. I'm there to encourage, to help, and to teach people. That's my mission. That's what I like doing. And I wouldn't start my own server just because it would detract from being able to do the things that I love doing if I had to be responsible for managing all the other things. There's a reason you never see me in the general chat on Dream Cafe unless there's like some really important reason. That's hilarious, Onyx. You had a dream like that? I've had dreams where I was teaching people about lucid dreaming, Onyx. It's actually hilarious. Classic. I've done that several times in dreams, trying to wild in dreams. I've done that so many times. It's hilarious. Oh, yours on Discord is vanilla. Oh, well, there's the reason why I said that the Chips in your name. There's a person on Dream Cafe and I think Omni as well who's called Chips, and I've known them for several months and I haven't heard from them in a while. So how does the screener pronounce abbreviations? Well, the word it pronounces abbreviations, but it pronounces the actual abbreviations as generally, for the most part, unless it's pre-programmed in, it pronounces it as the letters LDPRFA. Like, duh, those aren't even popular abbreviations, but I pronounce them as what they actually are just because I'm considerate to everyone, and I like, to do that. I do the long form pronunciations when I'm talking because I can just do that. Hello, iPlays, welcome. No, no, I didn't say Omni Chips VR. I said they were on the Omni Lucid server. I meant, sorry. Hey, guess what, guys? I've actually caught up. Can you believe it? I actually caught up. Wow. Let me see how long that took for me to catch up. Let's see. Took me 30 minutes to catch up in chat, guys. That was amazing. We think we got 7 viewers and 14 likes. That's nice. To make your lucid dreams all your expectations, schema, those are pretty key. Yep, just pay attention to what you're doing. Don't expect that you're going to wake up from anything, and just enjoy the experience. Practice is a key thing. Practicing, the more you do it, the longer they'll get, generally. Yeah. What to do if you start feeling a dream journaling is a chore? Make it fun. Make a game out of it. Look for dream signs. Look for something interesting in your dreams. I mean, for me, dream journaling is kind of a chore for me, to be honest, because I don't actually do it for recall. I do it for record keeping. I don't need a journal for recall. I don't. I don't actually need one for recall. I voice record for record keeping purposes only, and then I keep a Excel spreadsheet log of my lucids because I'm just that alpha sigma type who just likes to have all those details. So like I'm that guy. So yeah, so I just sort of do that. But yeah, make your dreams fun and interesting. It's done dream journal recordings in mild sessions at the same time at night before, which is I find hilarious. But just make it interesting. Go through your dream, pick out something odd or out of place, pick out something weird, and go, wow, this is interesting. Or try to find something funny, like, oh my god, I can't believe that I actually thought there was a swimming pool connected to my brother's bedroom. Like, who on earth would have figured that was a thing? You're okay to talk, Chips. Just, yeah, ask some questions. What if dreams are so complex and random that it makes it difficult to write down, eh? Well, in that case, just do it anyway. I mean, like, I don't. How complex and random are you talking? Like, I do voice recording, and I just like talk about my dreams. So let's see. Let's go through one involving Star Trek Deep Space Nine. First off, I'm playing one of the games. I'm on a Star Trek MUD I'm playing, and we're flying a Callisto class Corvette through the Bajoran wormhole. And I'm kind of pissed because one of the other characters had changed all the power profiles and made the names really weird. And I was kind of mad about that because in real life last night I was kind of mad because they made a new formula for how all the warp factors are calculated, and that totally threw off all my calculations because I had everything calculated mathematically down to a T for percentages to reach certain warp factors. So I was kind of pissed at that, and so that kind of came into the dream, and then we just transitioned from flying this Corvette to flying the Griffin class runabout that we have, and I was slipstreaming to space dock, but space dock showed up as 0 light years distance, which it would actually show up in a light second range if it was under 1 light year. And it's just not the case. So Deep Space Nine, it's a decent trip. I'd say it's about 8 to 10 minutes at slipstream velocity, which is warp 9.9999 or 2,700,000 something times the speed of light. Anyway, so we end up transitioning to warp really quickly, and I'm mad because the warp cruise profile is not set up correctly, and I had to handle everything. And then it transitions into a dream about Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And now I'm imagining watching the show, and the Defiant, under the command of Captain Sisko, is going through the wormhole. And then it's like they discovering the wormhole with the Defiant, except that's not how it actually happened. And it's like they come back through the wormhole, but they've changed trajectory. Now they're in an alternate universe where the wormhole was never discovered, the Dominion was never discovered, and they somehow still have the Defiant at Deep Space Nine, but it's not the same. But yet they remember that something is off, but they're exploring this mirror universe, this alternate reality. And then at one point they're walking out of ops and they enter a turbo lift, and Wei Yun is there, who's a Vorta from the Dominion, and he's like really mad because somehow they discovered the wormhole and came through. So changelings were in the Alpha Quadrant, but no one else had actually discovered the wormhole, which that makes sense because the station's like right there. They would have seen anyone come through. But in this reality, it was like they had come through a long time ago before the station was even discovered. And the Dominion had found their way into the Alpha Quadrant anyway. And then like Wei Yun was taking people captive. And then it was like becoming this like it was like a dream sequence for all the characters, and their only way out was to like try to steal the Defiant and leave the station and go back through the wormhole. And it was just really well scripted, and it was like I was writing half of a Deep Space Nine episode in a dream, and it was awesome. See, that's a complex dream, and I just narrated the whole dang thing in public. So yes, I think it is possible to do things like that. I went into a very high level of detail on that dream. A lot of what I could remember went into that. Classic 345. What can I do to encourage myself to lucid dream? Because I haven't been feeling like doing it lately, along with me really not wanting to start a dream journal. Although I perfectly can. Well, honestly, what I usually recommend people to do is find a goal or something that takes lucidity to achieve. Find something that you'd really love to be able to do, that you need to be lucid to be able to do, and give yourself something to work for, something that actually would matter to you. Find something that you could actually do in your dreams that you wouldn't be able to do in real life, that you would really enjoy doing, that you would be motivated to try to do. And I would go about it that way and try to create something that would be of value to you that you could achieve from doing lucid dreaming. It is a skill, and you practice a skill for a reason. You want to get something out of it. You want something of usually material or personal value from a skill. It's either self improvement or you're developing, like working out, for example. You're trying to get in shape, or if you're learning an instrument, you're doing it to either better yourself or because you like it or you want to be able to perform in front of people or family or friends or in public. Or if you're learning and other skills, you learn to make money for a career. It's a skill, so there's usually something you're doing it for. So find something that would make doing the skill worthwhile, so that you have something to aim for, that you want to get out of it. Have some goals for it. You've been doing ADA for a while, and recall and dream vivid. This is key for ADA being successful, right? I've done ADA to dream. Well, I don't do ADA, and I don't know. ADA is a day practice. Now, here's the thing: my view on day practices. I consider day practice to be supplementary. If you're just doing a day practice and no night practice, I'm not really a fan. I always do night practices. Always recommend night practices as being primary and day practice as being secondary. ADA is a thing that you can do to help you be more aware in your dreams, whereas at night you set intentions, you attempt wilds, you do something along that line of actually doing a night practice as well. You don't just do a day practice. Um, there are omnis I know who follow that line as well. That night practice is supreme. I would say supreme, but it is a level of supremacy. Like it's something that takes precedent. But you've been doing ADA for a while. You're actively being aware of what you're doing and what you're experiencing, the situation you're in. Are you doing criticality as well with that iPlays? But yeah, I strongly recommend you do some night practices too. Don't just do day practices. They're great. They're helpful. They're supplemental. Just like having a turbocharged engine for a car. You have to have the car in the first place, but night practices tend to be, I consider them to be more primary and day practice to be more secondary. So I definitely would recommend you keep that up, but also do a night practice, each night with that. Yes, if you journal as much detail as possible, generally that's a good idea, and especially for vividness and recall. No, dreams where I'm a spectator and watching it happen and not being character in it are not normal. That Star Trek dream I had that I was just talking about, the parts about the D69 show, that is not normal for me. I've had that happen a few times, and particularly with TV shows. Particularly, it's Star Trek related. If I have that kind of dream. But no, those dreams are not normal. In fact, there are a lot of those types of dreams where I'm also a character and I'm doing something in that dream and I'm not just a spectator, but I'm kind of a fly on the wall to the important characters that are doing things, but I'm still actively a character. I'm hardly ever a spectator. That one was more like I was watching the show and listening to the show. It was weird. Yeah, that actually happens, Onyx. When people, what you're doing is you're making your dreams more important to you. You're exposing people to thinking about their dreams more, and remembering dreams is a natural side effect of thinking more about your dreams. So yes, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I've observed that happening to people before. Well, I don't know if I'd really want to do that because one, I don't know what I'd play as far as music on the stream. I get the idea, but one, I don't know what I'd play. Two, I want to focus on what I'm doing, and three, like I wouldn't be able to hear the results, so I wouldn't really know what would be appropriate and what wouldn't, to be honest with you. And I have my Alexa device and my iPhone to choose between for doing that, and I don't really feel like either would be appropriate. It would still sound, it wouldn't be integrated into the stream. It would be apart from it. And I'm doing this off of just live streaming directly from YouTube. I don't have any official setup. I don't have any, programs or anything that I do this from. I'm doing this specifically from YouTube. You technically have ADA. See, that's not ADA. If you're getting those notifications in your reality check, that's not ADA. ADA is being able to do that kind of like is being independent, is is independently thinking about what you're doing, not just reality checking, but actually, okay, so classic 345. What are you doing right now? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What are you feeling right now? Alright, what experience are you having? Do you know that you're actually having an experience right now? Do you know that that's what you're doing? I situationally, okay, what are you doing? Are you listening to someone on YouTube, for example? What is up else is up on your computer or your phone? What's around you? I mean, that sort of thing. That's what 8A is kind of about. It's different types of awareness. You I would I place again, I don't say do night practice for 8 AM, I'm saying do a night practice. So do like ADA during the day and then do a night practice at night. Like do a mild practice, do wake back to beds and do SSLD or wild or mild again during the night. Like honestly, there's no reason not to do any of these things. And they all help. And night practices tend to help a little bit more. Day practices like ADA, if it becomes if it becomes something that is natural over time, it might help more. But night practices are sort of where the bread and butter is in a lot of what you do, at least in my view. Duck Moment, yes, I remember you. I remember you from like what a couple weeks ago, last week. Um, I don't even know what lofi music is. Classic. You spend your nights coding. Well, there's the problem. You got the time. You just ain't using it. And anyway, if you sleep, you have time to lucid dream. It just takes 15 minutes to mild before bed. When you get up, spend a few minutes delving, record your dreams, set intentions. You should, if you're not getting 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep every night, though, like around 8 hours, if you're not getting that every night, then that's a problem. And I'm not talking for dream. I'm talking about just for health in general. If you're getting like 6 or less hours of sleep each night, then that's a problem. You actually, Onyx, I if this were a question in court, I'd be like, objection, asked and answered. How can I find my why for lucid dreaming? If I just want to do it for the extraordinary experiences, you just answered it. Your why is that you want to do it for the extraordinary experiences. You want to do it for the experience of doing it, for what that experience is like. That experience is enticing enough for you that you want to do it. You just answered your own question. Is it enough to be to want to experience things I wouldn't be able to, such as fly? Yeah, like honestly, having that unique experience, especially in the beginning, is a good motivator. You're able to do things that you just physically cannot do anywhere else. So yeah, you literally answered your own question. Oh, good. You do mild at night. Do you, how many wake back to beds I plays are you doing each night? You don't know if it's your ADHD getting you distracted. I have no idea. I cannot answer that. Oh, you get 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, and you're telling me you can't find the time to do lucid dreaming practice. I have trouble believing that. A lot of trouble believing that. I'm sure you can easily find 15 minutes before bed and 15 minutes when you wake up. Easily. Usually 2 or 3 times a night. Are you trying wild at all as well? Alright, I caught up. Excellent. I have caught up. Yeah, you get 6 hours of sleep, you still practice. I would still recommend getting more sleep than 6 hours because you're the later you sleep, the longer your REM periods get. So that last 2 hours of sleep could actually contain, like, an hour's worth of dreams that you're just missing out on. Honestly, it's like you could have 30, 40-minute dream or 50 or more minute dream periods, REM periods in that just that last 2 hours that you're missing right there that are you're just leaving off the table. Like, you wouldn't believe it, but that actually is a thing. You stop because you don't like having a bedtime on the weekends. I hate to break it to you. I'm in college. I have a bedtime every day, except I'm only taking 9 hours, so my schedule's more flexible, but I have to be up by 8 AM every Tuesday and Thursday. And you know what? I'm still waking up during the night because I naturally wake up, like, all the time. I'm still practicing every night. I may go to bed at 3 AM on Friday night, last night, last night, last night. Excuse me, did I say something? Yeah, 3 AM, 3 AM last night. Went to bed. Got up at 1 PM today. Got 10 hours of sleep. It's a weekend day. I didn't have a bedtime last night. And you know what? I was able to practice. So I strongly recommend you do that. You don't have to have a bedtime. You just have to make sure you get enough sleep. It doesn't matter on which side of which side you make it up, but it's up to you really. But one wake back to bed. Uh, do five. I can do five, 5 or 6 or more. Honestly, sometimes in dreams I see something and know I've seen it before, so I know what it is. When I've seen it in a previous dream, but I'm not aware already that I've seen it in a prior dream. I've done that before, and I had dreams where I was back at my old college campus, and then thought about going to a restaurant that was only ever there in a dream that happened before at that same location, which I find actually to be quite hilarious. So I have had dreams like that. That happens, but still, you're training yourself to recognize things that are out of place, anything that's abnormal or out of place. And it's something that is it's the longer you do it, the more you practice. Generally, the better it takes, but it gets. But it's one of the things that can take time for it to truly develop. High plays when you're doing mild, I recommend 15 to 20 minutes before going to bed, and then when you wake up at night, like 10 to 15 minutes at least. That's a minimum I'd recommend you do. What's my go-to thing in to do in lucid dreams? Flying, jumping through ceilings like they don't exist, teleporting, trolling. I've trolled dream characters, made them tell me that they're dream characters, which is kind of funny. And then opportunistic things. So if I'm in a specific location, I just take advantage of being in the moment and just enjoy where I am. If I'm somewhere exotic or somewhere interesting or somewhere, appealing to me, I'll just enjoy the situation. I will, chat with dream characters. I will investigate just random crap, spawn things. Anything opportunistic is what I do a lot of times, but it really just depends on where I am and what mood I'm in, honestly. So today, my mood was to run around across this field because I had to like shove myself into getting proper tactile sensation. I was basically wilding in a way, and it was like this dream, and I was like half in, half out of the dream because was not getting proper tactiles, but knew it was basically dreaming, and I sort of like forced myself into it once I was in this field. I just ran across this random field, and I just flapped my arms, started hover flying across this field. Yeah, I was on the London Underground a few weeks ago, and that was very opportunistic. I just summoned a train out of nowhere, got on it, started singing to some random guy, and crossing a bridge in London. I was like, it's just when in Rome, dude. That the saying when in Rome. Well, my lucid dreams are a lot like that. They're very opportunistic. Whatever I have in front of me, a lot of the times is something I end up doing just because it's something that's appealing at the moment to do. So I do that a lot. Technically, you don't almost need a bedtime for WTB Classic. You just need to get at least 6 to 8, like at least I would say 6 to 8 hours. 8 hours of sleep is highly recommended. 8 or maybe a little bit more than that. But that's how is if you're getting that much sleep, you can wake back to bed whenever the frack you want to, and multiple times during that. It's up to you. Like if you go to bed at midnight and you wake up at 8 a.m. So you can do wake back to bed at 3, you could do one at 4:30, you could do one at 6, and that's just doing 3. I mean, you could do more than that. And so you went to bed at midnight, got up at 10 a.m. That's 10 hours. You could do one at 3 a.m., 4:30, 6, 7:30, 9. I mean, you could do 4 or 5 wake back to beds with that and have an hour and a half between each. Like, it's really, you know, it's just when you go to sleep, when you get up, if you're seriously getting less than 6 hours of sleep, then you need a bedtime. And it's not for wake back to bed, it's for your health, man. If you're getting less than 6 hours of sleep, that's a you problem. That is not a wake back to bed problem. That is a you are not getting a good amount of sleep problem. So no, you don't. It's that's not emphatically true. If you're getting 8 hours of sleep each night, you have room for at least 3 to 4 back to beds, and that's doing it. That's being really reasonable. That's giving you like hour and a half, like doing one each sleep cycle, but skipping the first two, and going 3 hours in, and then doing one for the rest of your sleep cycles. That's pretty reasonable, actually. So you don't almost need a bedtime. You just need to be able to wake up during your sleep, which is not, that's it. Like, you go to bed whenever you want to. You just wake up during your sleep. That's good. No, yeah, that's the problem. You say you only do it one time with wake back to bed. Yeah, that's the issue right there. That's definitely one. I'd say do it at least 10 to 15 minutes. Because you're closer to your dreams and you really want to get that intention. Really want that to be, active. Next, your question: why did I have more success when I started lucid dreaming than rather than now? When I started, I had at least 1 to 2 lucid dreams per week, and now I get them rarely. Could it have something to do with excitement? Yes. I mean, you were really into it, I guess, when you started, so you were motivated more to do it. You were disciplined more, probably. But now I guess the initial buzz is sort of worn off, and you say you're getting them rarely. Can you just say, I'm curious, what is your practice again? You're practicing every day, right? And what's your practice like? There's really no reason to be scared of dreams. Honestly, I like to promote having a healthy relationship with your dreams. There's really no reason to be scared of them. How can you get your excitement back? You're still excited about it, but it's not the same. Find new things that you want to do, new frontiers to explore, goals, things to experience. Find some new experience that you'd like to have. Basically, it's kind of false info. I mean, basically, you know, your dream. Basically, what happens in a dream is what you associate, what you expect. You may think that you're talking to your subconscious, but really, the answers you get are literally just going to be whatever you expect. It's association, it's schema, it's what you expect. And people talk about like, oh, well, you can go try to learn past memories that you have. Not really, because your brain can create false memories and dreams really easily. So you may think at the time you're doing that, and then you wake up and be like, that was utter BS, or like that was weird, or like, you know, at the end of the day, it's all based on schema and expectation. Yeah, you should WBTB more than once in a night. That's actually something I recommend people do. There's more opportunities right there. Like I said, I'm an opportunistic sort of guy, so I like taking those opportunities. Chapin, okay, so you mile before bed, you mile during your natural wakings. How many times per night? So you mile before bed. How many wakings do you have? And you are following one of our mild guides, correct? By the way, that humming sound you guys just heard, that's the quieter of the 2 garage doors. That's the big one. I would say, if you're sleeping 8 hours, I would say make your first one about 2 to 3 hours after you start, and you can have multiple ones at like 90-minute intervals. So you have like a full sleep cycle between each one. That's how I'd go about doing it, or something like that. Or you could say like, say you did 2 in a night, you did one at the 3 hour mark, you did one at the 6 hour mark to start. That's also an approach you could take as well. Interesting. So they're not your natural wakings are not as consistent for you as they are for me. Like for me, I'm just a really light sleeper, so I notice all of them all the time, and it's like 5 or 6 every single day till the end of time. It's annex, not onyx. All right. Let's see here. So let me just do a time check. 55 minutes and 3 seconds. Guys, it's been almost an hour. Do you believe it? I'm down to, I think, 3 viewers. I think it's you, iPlays, and Classic, I would assume. But I'm going to end this very shortly because this has been about 55 minutes. So maybe 1 or 2 questions here at the end. If anyone has any last minute questions they'd like to get answered, please speak now if you do, and I will answer those before I sign off here. I'd like to thank everyone who did show up today and made this session enjoyable. Thanks. Yeah, my night streams are that way. That's why I've been making more of an effort to do streams at this time because the timing works real well for me, but only on weekends. And I want to do Saturday because I know that it's Saturday night for you right now going into Sunday versus Sunday night going into Monday. And with people with school and work obligations in Europe, Sundays at this time would not be nearly as favorable. So I wanted to take that opportunity so that I could get people from other countries involved. I feel like that would be a respectful thing to do. So that's why I did that. So yeah, thanks for coming. 8 viewers? I saw the only thing I noticed is like 3. We have 8. Nice. My thing only says 1 now, but I don't know if that's viewer. I think it's 16 likes, and then there's a 1 above it, which I think might be viewers. All right, guys. Well, I'd like to thank you all for showing up today. This has been Skyfall Blind Dreamer. If you are new to my channel, if you're new to Skyfall Blind Dreamer and you'd like to watch my videos or, come to some more of my live streams or watch more of my content when it's posted, please feel free to subscribe to Skyfall Blind Dreamer and turn on the notification bell to get notifications. Also, if you are watching this video after it has been released, after the stream has ended, feel free to post comments. I do try to respond to as many people as I can. And I would like to thank you all for watching today. And thanks, Classic. Good night, Enix, and good night to everyone. This has been Skyfall Blind Dreamer, and I am about to sign out right now. Goodbye, everyone.